Hello, the Inquisitor 2000. This is Gerald Bullion, and you asked a very good question. Especially you wanted my opinion on how I feel about owning firearms and the ability to defend myself. Well, in order to answer that question a little bit more accurately, I'd like to take you a little bit back in time to a period that a lot of people don't know about, or a lot of the young people haven't experienced like I have. About 40 years ago in Erie, Pennsylvania, there was a place called Tech High School. Okay? A firearm was actually required to be carried to school, believe it or not. That would have caused a big uproar today. But back then, that particular firearm was a rifle, a .22 rifle, and if your parents couldn't afford one, because the note was sent home from the school, if you cannot afford a .22 rifle for your child, then, a teenager, because this was in high school, then they could share one of the 5 classroom rifles. And shock and amazement, back then, 40 years ago, there was a gun safety course. That's the whole premise. You had to bring your own ammo, and you would go out back to the school where the archery range was, and they would convert that into a gun range, a rifle range, for practice. And they taught children, kids, teenagers, how to respect their firearms, how to clean them, how to take care of them, how to safely use them, and how to safely store them, etc., etc. Now you have to understand, nobody went on shooting rampages in those days. Nobody went to malls with guns and started popping people left and right. But then again, most of America wasn't flooded by major pharmaceutical drug companies trying to push depression pills on everybody and on children specifically in school. But I'll leave that for a different story for now. The whole point about owning a firearm is, yes, they do end up in the hands of bad people. But you have to understand, bad people will use anything at their disposal to kill somebody else. It doesn't matter if it's a gun or not. If bad person A wants to kill good person B and there's no gun available, they'll use a knife. And if there's no knife available, they'll use a baseball bat. And if there's no baseball bat available, they'll use a cord and strangle them, or their bare hands. The whole point is, guns don't necessarily kill people by themselves. It's the bad people who get a hold of a weapon with the intent to kill, which is kind of sad in any society, but they're in every society that there is. As far as gun ownership, and the reason why I brought up the past with how there were gun safety courses in school, and parents actually taught their kids how to hunt, how to take care of their weapon, why that was important, was because it was more than familiarity. It was more than just knowing what to do. The best way I can compare it to is swimming. Like today, parents are scared to death that their kids are going to drown in a pool or drown in a river or a lake if they go swimming. So what do? They send them to swimming lessons, especially when they're young. And they're taught how to swim. Now, generally for a firearm in America, it was 9 years of age to start teaching your son how to clean, take care of it, not shoot it, not yet. But some parents did take their kids hunting that young, and they supervised the entire thing. But when it comes to even swimming, you teach your children how to swim so you can drown-proof them. You don't make them impervious to drowning, but their chances of them drowning goes down way considerably if they're taught how to swim. You gotta stretch that over to firearms. The moment you teach your children to respect firearms, to be safe with them, to know what they can and can't do, that's the first step to proofing people on how to not accidentally kill somebody with it, on how to safely store it. And back then, you have to understand, everybody's mom, uncle, pop, aunt, they didn't have a problem with going out, loading up, and protecting themselves. And why is that important? To defend yourself? Because you have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's written. It's constitutional. You have in the Constitution, in the Second Amendment, you have you have a right to bear arms, and because you have a right to life, you have a right to protect that life. You have to understand, When someone calls the police because someone is coming through your window with a butcher knife or a gun of their own, and you just sit there on the line with the operator going, "Oh, please wait for the police. They'll be there. Stay on the line with me. It's okay." Yeah, while you're getting stabbed to death or possibly shot. When you could have very easily went upstairs, pulled out your piece, quickly loaded it, took the safety off, went down, and when the SOB is coming up the steps, you blow them away. Protect yourself. Protect your family. That's important, because any society has a bad element, whether you're from Switzerland or not. However, a lot of it is also due to deterrent. Most criminals, not all, but most criminals are cowards at heart. You have to understand, okay, you have two houses. House A, they know the family is armed. House B, they know the family is unarmed. That particular criminal who's looking for a quick buck, or who's looking to steal jewelry, or to want to hurt someone, they're not going to go to the armed house. They're immediately going to go towards the unarmed house. And that's exactly what happens, and it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that human beings are like this, but there's no way around it. So when it comes to your Second Amendment, it was written there for a reason. Okay? Those guys back then who wrote the Constitution were extremely smart. They're smarter than me, smarter than anybody else that I know. Alright? They knew what they were doing, and we need to trust that. To say today times have changed is utter baloney. Because a bad person, like back then, can still come after a good person. Doesn't matter how many years have gone by. Humans have been killing other humans for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years. But the whole point is, today, you can protect yourself. And when people know you're protecting yourself, it goes a long ways to making sure that you can live a productive, full life in safety and comfort. Sometimes you have to defend yourself. And that's what being free is all about. The freedom to protect yourself and the freedom to flourish. And besides, how many bad guys do you think would really want to come after you if they knew you were armed? There's two ways to shield yourself from a violent attack. You can do this, or you're gone, pal. Tell me, how would you want to shield yourself from a violent attack if it ever comes? And I hope to God it doesn't. Thank you for listening to my video, and I'm looking forward to your response if you have any.